Oh yeah. Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah, I've heard about this from the Polish war journalist because he recently gave a history lecture on Palestine, and he did talk about the planes. So it's okay. He did talk about these planes, about about the Sakin. You still wanna call in? I mean, you can call in if you wish, and we can talk about the Sakin. And then I am going to give a bit of an opinion on the Finkelstein Destiny debate because I may not be an expert on Israel Palestine, but I have thoughts on that debate, at least parts of it. Some of those, some of the parts of that debate were so bafflingly bad that it left me really, wow, it left me surprised, negatively surprised, really negatively surprised.
Hey.
Hello, introduce yourself to the audience. Hold on, I have to add text, add source.
Okay. Well, I'm Estelle. I'm Gabriellethingamajig in chat. So,
What are your
uh,
pronouns?
she, her. Uh, uh, so the second, I wanted to talk about the second.
Okay.
You know what that means? The word.
Unfortunately, no.
I think it means the mule.
Oh, like the animal.
Yeah. Uh, and yeah. Wait. Yeah. I know a lot from it. You can. There's also a lot on it in Wikipedia. So basically, there were a lot of military surplus in Czechoslovakia after World War II because they were involved in German war production.
Yeah, that was like the. You could say that they were the. I'm not okay. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but they were the sort of backbone of Germany manufacturing, which is why Germany again uh, aimed at annexing Czechoslovakia to begin with
Yeah,
for those Skoda factories that they desperately needed.
yeah. They used the Panzer 38 T T for Czechoslovakia. A lot at the start of the war because, well, it was a good design. It was also used by the Swedish, I think. And it was a very good export design, and the Czech used it too. And also it was the basis for a tank destroyer, which was called the Hetzer, which is recognizable because it's like a box, a small box with a gun out center. But to come back to the second, well, basically they started with the BF 109 for G6, which was one of the later designs of the BF 109 during the war. But thing is, with the BF 109, it wasn't really the same aircraft from start to end. Like it was almost completely redesigned throughout the war, but kept the same name BF 109. So start they had the S99, the Avia S99, which well was basically just the Czech name for the BF 109. It had the same engine, but then disaster struck. There was as I said in chat, there was a fire that destroyed most of the engines. The DB 605. and so they had to use bomber engines. They had to use engines that were usually used on the I think it was the I have the image of the bomber in my head.
Oh, that's not really important.
Yeah.
The important
So
thing is that I believe this engine was too heavy for this aircraft.
not exactly. Well, it, it's just it was way less powerful than the DB605.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because it was just meant to be on a bomber. You have on a bomber you have two of them. It's not, and
It's
it's
not
not.
compatible, is what you're saying.
Well, it was compatible, obviously, because they used it. They were able to fly with it. But
No, I mean, but many of them also dropped to the ground. It was not a reliable flight,
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
Yeah, it was not ideal. But I don't think it was it was more because it was way harder to use to fly the plane than with the DB605, because the problem is the engine has the propeller imparted so much torque, because, well, on a bomber you don't really care about the torque. Well, if you have two engines, the torque of the propeller, because like it goes in a way, because there's the propeller pushes air in one direction, but it also it also pushes air in in other direction, so it makes your plane twist. But on a bomber, since you have two engines, the twist of the two engines usually cancels each other out, because they are made to spin in opposite directions. So you don't have to worry too much about the torque on a bomber, especially since bomber
So what you're
frames are
saying
more.
is that the engine wasn't compatible with the planes that was put in.
Kinda, but the torque is a problem on any plane with a single engine. It's just that it was stronger on that engine than on engines that are usually meant for for single engine aircraft. Did I say monoplane? I meant single engine.
So it was more compatible.
It made the plane a very much harder plane to fly, especially if you are a novice pilot, because it's not something you expect. You have to get accustomed to. Well, first you have to push the throttle very gently, because at low speed your engine will be doing much of the pushing, and so it will have much more of an effect on at low speeds. But as you accelerate, there are other parts of the aircraft, like the stabilizers, that will help you help you counteract that force. So that's one thing. It was way harder to fly.
Those planes were sort of attributed to turning around a dire situation in Israel.
Yeah.
But that's a different story, I guess.
Well, it's the end result, but it's not just the only thing that's the issue. The engine is an issue. Also, the BF-109 itself was a pretty finicky machine, because it had a very narrow undercarriage, which makes it not really stable on the ground. Because, well, if your wheels that are placed on the wheels, the wings, they are far apart, that gives you a lot of stability. You're not going to tip one side or the other. But on the BF-109, it was easy to like tip it over so that you would scrape one tip of the wing on the ground. So that was another issue, made worse by the fact that the engine wasn't made for fighters, single engine planes. Then there's the fact that on the DB605, the DB605 was an engine gun setup. You could put a cannon that would fire through the propeller hub, which makes it very accurate. Because, well, you don't have to account for the guns being on either sides. And also the fact that you can put a gun in the middle of the bomber engine meant that if you wanted to have sufficient firepower, you had to use the kit that would let you add guns to the wings of the aircraft. But that would also decrease performance because it would add additional weight, it would add additional drag, and so that's another factor which made the Sahin even worse.
Right. It did save the day, though.
Yeah, reluctantly.
Or rather, well, depends on how you look at it. It saved the day for the Israelis. It doomed the day for the forces fighting them.
There's one last thing that made the Sahin even worse, and that's, to my knowledge, it's not exactly 100% confirmed, but it's the fact that it had still machine guns firing through the propeller, like they are mounted on the cowling. On the BF-109, there's a synchronization gear that makes it that you don't shoot your propeller off by shooting those guns, because like they will only fire when the propeller is out of the way. But the problem is that it was the synchronization gear wasn't made for the engine or the propeller. So it would end up that if you use the guns, those guns, they could end up destroying your propeller, and your plane would basically fall out of the sky. So that was an issue that you don't want that to happen.
Right.
So that's the story of the.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us all about the planes that saved the war in Israel.
That's just a testament to the kind of pilots that were crazy enough to fly those kinds of planes.
That's true. I mean, the times were desperate, so the measures were desperate as well. Well then, thank you, and I'll be seeing you soon. And I'll be doing a rant of my own now about the.
All right.
The base.
See ya. A nice stream.
Thank you. Well, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Also, link your stuff. I'm gonna put it in the chat.